much covered, so no issues. Right. So GCP, Azure, and AWS are all part of hybrid cloud. Now, you might ask why hybrid cloud? Well, I just told you that I might have a computer at home. It has some sort of a cloud setup, and I want to connect it with something like a public cloud. Right. Now, GCP, Azure, and AWS can act like a public cloud as well. But since they have connections, they can connect to our local cloud, that is our private clouds. It is known as a hybrid cloud. Right. So, most flexible. Why? Because if I want, I can use my machine. If I want, I can use GCP, my choice. And organizations can decide where to run my app. Right. Apps, websites, anything. So if I think that my app can run locally and be fine, then I'll run it locally. If not, I can host it on the cloud, right? And here the biggest thing is, see, in public cloud, I had no control over the security, right? Because the public cloud service provider is taking control of that. In the private cloud, I'm only having access, I'm having full access to the security and resources. Everything is mine. Who can take control of it? In the hybrid cloud, see this. We take control with security, compliance, and legal issues, right? But it never said, it nowhere mentions that we will take care of the hardware. Okay. So if I just remove this, you can see this is a good representation of a small representation of why how hybrid cloud works. It connects private clouds and public clouds. Okay, so any questions in public, private, or public or
Brother, can you
hybrid cloud?
explain this hybrid cloud part once again?
Yeah, sure. So you can still see my screen, right?
Yes, Brother.
Okay. So imagine you have an app. Imagine you have an app. Okay. That app requires a database. Now you have an app that can run locally, but the database that you have will scale. You know scaling, right? Suppose today it has 4 users. In 5 days it will have 20,000 users. Now your local database cannot run that. So what you need to do is actually connect your local app with a database online. That online can be a part of public cloud. That public cloud can be GCP, Azure, or AWS. Now you might ask, I'm just saying AWS, Azure, and GCP are public clouds, but why private cloud? But why hybrid cloud? The very fact that it can join my local app with the database online is what makes it hybrid, right? So for example, imagine I just told you the app thing, right? So for example, imagine it's almost like our the times where we were having COVID and we had to uh, look at lectures online on Zoom, right? So I'm a part of college, but I don't go to college. I
Hmm.
just look it up on Zoom, right? So in the same way, it is a part of cloud. It is running locally, but the database is online. So you can only imagine why it is hybrid. I cannot say
Okay.
it is an online app or offline app, right? It is a hybrid app. In the same way,
Hmm.
I cannot. I see the thing is that everybody listen. If somebody asks you, these are questions that you will get in the interview. GCP, Azure, or AWS, or any cloud that you see today in the modern times is not a private cloud. Is it a public cloud? Yes. Is it a hybrid cloud? Yes. If they ask you what sort of a cloud GCP, Azure, or AWS is, it is a hybrid cloud. But is it a public cloud as well? Yes. Is it a private cloud? No. Private clouds are only clouds that we have. Only we can make with our machines. Nobody can control it. It is it private cloud also has some other names like on-premises cloud. On-premises. Premises as in our home and on as in inside our homes. So you see, the name is made in that way. Yusuf, an example of public cloud, well, GCP Azure, whatever you take. Actually, nobody actually makes public cloud. Public cloud are so rare that these are owned by third parties. Even if I make a company today and I decide that I will make a public cloud, then I cannot have that because these cloud whole servers and whole databases will be owned by someone else, right? I will only be managing them. So there's no point in having just a public cloud because imagine if you're making something, you will make it locally first. No, but no matter how big the company, you will make it locally. Then, if you want to scale, if you want to publish it to the world, then you will go public with the public cloud, or maybe even go for a hybrid infrastructure. So, with that being said, any more questions on the types of cloud based on public, private, and hybrid?
Dada, you spoke about that AWS in respect to hybrid
Hmm.
cloud. So I guess Heroku Vercel also falls under hybrid cloud as well.
Heroku is a very limited cloud, and Vercel is not cloud. Will just help you host your apps. It's a very small subset of cloud. It's not a part of this session, but when I talk about services in the later sessions, I will tell you which apps are actually helping to run your apps, which services in GCP or AWS or Azure are helping you to run your apps, and there are just so much more, right? Vercel is just a part where it helps you to host your apps or website or whatever. Heroku Cloud kind of does the same. You can connect databases and everything, but it still is a very small subset of cloud. Once you get to know how much cloud can do, it is really like Heroku and Vercel are really just small kids to GCP, Azure, and AWS.
Okay, Dada.
Right. Any more questions? What about railway? What about it? Do you mean railway booking system, something like that? Well, just so you know, our Makout servers are hosted on AWS, so that's a good connection if that helps. Right. So, how can I differentiate between cloud services? What do you think? Next question. Now I'll ask you questions. How many types of cloud services can there be? Storage. And
I guess three. Like you have told this in the previous session.
okay. Did I? I'm not sure.
In infrastructure, platforms, and software.
Okay, nice. Yeah, almost got it. Okay, anyone else? There are a couple of more, but these are the main three. I'll talk about what they are very soon. How will you differentiate between them? This is a burning interview question. Everywhere you will get this. What is an IAS? What is a PAS? What is an SAS? Which one is an IAS? Storage, computing.
Like
Oh no, no,
can I
I'll tell you.
say?
Don't worry.
Nah,
I'll tell you.
ठीक है, ठीक है.
So let's get to it. Okay, so IaaS stands for Infrastructure as a Service. What do you think infrastructure is? I'll not be looking at the screen, so someone just unmute and tell me. What is infrastructure in terms of cloud? I just told you everything is on the internet. So where is the infrastructure?
Like the computers or PCs we use.
Okay, that is our infrastructure. That is for private cloud. Think about hybrid or public cloud. Where is the infrastructure there? Right. Don't worry.
Data centers.
Data centers. Yes. Anywhere. See, when you are allocating some resources, right, it doesn't mean that those resources come magically. Some genie comes and gives you an i7 processor. No, nothing like that happens. Actually, these data centers, there are data centers that are they're all over the world, and there are computers which are set up in such a way that whenever you allocate something to it, whenever you want to allocate something to yourself, that particular piece of infrastructure is for you, right? So virtual machines, storage, these are examples of data centers. Now, how do you differentiate? It's very important because if you're sitting for an interview, if you're giving some exam, then it's very important to know how will you differentiate between, how will you get to know if the service told to you is an IaaS. First and foremost, think logically. Think where will the how, where or how will the whole service build, right? If I tell you that there is a virtual machine where you have to host a website, or where you have to maybe do something, you have to make workflow, right? Imagine this virtual machine will be there somewhere on earth. It doesn't mean that all this computing power is coming from nowhere. No, it is coming from somewhere. Okay, so virtual machines automatically become a part of IaaS. Storage, similarly, it has to be stored somewhere. Has to be. Even if I ask you GCP, not GCP, Google Drive. Everybody is using Google Drive these days, right? Our Gmail is stored in Google Drive. So it doesn't mean that the drive that you're getting is having storage all of a sudden from nowhere around the world. The data center is storing your data somewhere. Okay. So it's all a part of infrastructure as a service. Focus on the I. This first letter usually changes and the AAS remains same. Right. So let's go to the second one. This is platform as a service. Somebody give me an example of a platform as a service. Somebody. Aditya, come on. Platform as a service. I told you guys, you can Google
মানে
it. No worries.
মানে PaaS এর এক্সাম্পল ধরো Azure, AWS, IBM Cloud.
No.
না আমি I just googled it and this came as a result.
Well, Google is doing very bad today. Then.
হ্যাঁ না না আমি PaaS এর এক্সাম্পল জানি না actually.
Anyone else? PAS. It stands for platform as a service. You see the AAS is same.
দাদা
The
AWS হবে?
nah, bhai. Google it, but Google nicely. Know how to Google also. Googling is a skill. Google এ
বাট
প্রচুর রেজাল্ট আছে।
হ্যাঁ বাট দুটো তিনটে ওয়েবসাইট কিন্তু বলছে PaaS এর এক্সাম্পল Azure, Heroku.
Acha, I'll tell you what PAS is. See, these all are cloud services. So all of these three are part of cloud only. You search IaaS, you will again see AWS as your.
It's a platform for developers.
Right, right. Well, the first thing about PAS, forget this whole definition. Definitions are for bookish people. PAS is what helps you build something, right? IAS will be the place where you have a PAS, right? Suppose IAS, I have a VM. I have a VM as IAS. PAS will be something where I can build something. Suppose like VS Code. Is VS Code a PAS? What do you think? It helps me build apps. Yes,
Yes.
no, give me something.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Anyone else? Yes, no. Why?
But
Yes,
সেটা
it's
ক্লাউডে
basically a
সার্ভিস
platform.
I'll go one by one, please. बोलो बोलो कोई एक बोलो.
VS Code is basically a platform where we are building apps and coding there.
So is
So
it
it's a
PAS?
PaaS. Yeah, it's
Acha.
a PaaS then.
আমি বলছিলাম যে লাইক এটা ক্লাউড কোথায়, লাইক এটা তো আমি আমার সিস্টেমেই করছি, আর লাইক আই এম নট লাইক এটা, মানে হাউ ইজ ইট আ পার্ট অফ ক্লাউড, হাউ ইজ ভিএস কোড আ পার্ট অফ ক্লাউড?
I'll tell you.
No,
VS
VS
Code.
Code, I had one thing to add. VS Code, like আমরা এখানে তো গিটহাবকে আমি মানে সরি গিটটাকে আমি ইয়ে করে কানেক্ট করে তো এখানে ইউজ করছি অ্যাজ আ ক্লাউড।
Hmm.
হ্যাঁ মানে সেটাই
So,
বলছি, মানে PaaS সেটা
acha. So see, even though VS Code helps us build something, the thing is, it is itself a finished app, right? It is a source code editor. Okay. Something that I can use to build VS Code is going to be PAS. Let's see, I'll give you some examples. Let's see, do I have examples? Yes, app service. Now, somebody tell me something that is hosted on app service. App service is something that can host your apps online. Anyone has used web apps? Come on. Everybody has used web apps, right? Any web app. Any web app. Anything online that helps you edit or maybe
Canva.
Canva, yeah.
Yeah,
Canva. This can app service can host Canva. I don't know if you have checked The whole Microsoft Office has an online version as a web app that can be hosted on app service. So app service, cloud run, writing with a mouse is very hard. So
So
forgive
Dada, in
me.
that sense, Gmail can also be a web app.
Gmail is an app. Gmail is a finished software.
The other also we can consider Jupyter.
Jupyter,
Jupyter.
Jupyter Notebook.
Hmm.
See, yeah, Jupyter Notebook. The thing is that Jupyter Notebook is also a finished app only. If I don't consider VS Code, then I cannot consider Jupyter Notebook also. Think about it.
Acha, if we
But
consider, acha,
the other we can also use Jupyter Notebook online also.
See, Canva itself is not PAS. Microsoft Office itself is not PAS. These are hosted by App Service. App Service is a service by Google on Google Cloud. You can search Google App Service. That is a PAS. It helps us host. See, read the definition. It provides us an environment for what? Building, testing, deploying software without caring about the underlying infrastructure. This is a part of serverless. Don't worry about this. But what does it help us to do in building, testing, and deploying what? Software. Okay. Now think.
Like Apple App Store or Samsung Store, like that.
Hmm, no, not really. See, those are
Does
standard.
online
স্টুডিও কি তাহলে ওদিক থেকে একটা কোনো মানে ফিনিশড অ্যাপ বলা যাবে তাহলে?
একটা যদি ফিনিশড অ্যাপ হয় ওটা পিএস হবে না।
আচ্ছা, না আমি বলছি দাদা অ্যান্ড্রয়েড স্টুডিও তাহলে কি হতে পারে?
অ্যান্ড্রয়েড স্টুডিও পিএস।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা।
না দাদা
so
মানে ফিনিশড অ্যাপ মানে এটা বোঝাচ্ছে কি বেসিক্যালি?
আমি অ্যাপটা যদি কাস্টমারের কাছে আছে, আমার কাছে আছে, তাহলে ইটস নট প্রবলি আ পার্ট অফ পিএস। আমাদের ইউজ করতে দিচ্ছে মানে পিএস হবে না। পিএ দেখ, আইএএস এ তুই কি করবি? ইউ উইল ইউজ আইএএস টু হ্যাভ দি সিস্টেম, রাইট? IAS will give you the system, PAS will give you the environment to build the software, and the third one, that is SaaS, that is software as a service, will give you the software itself. This is your Canva, this is your Microsoft Office. Okay, that is your Microsoft Office, and this is all the web apps that you talked about, Jupyter also. This is software
দাদা
as a service.
দাদা
বল।
তাহলে গুগল প্লে স্টোরকে পিএস বলে কনসিডার করা যেতে পারে, কারণ উই ক্যান হোস্ট ইট অর লাইক
গুগল প্লে স্টোর কি কিভাবে হোস্ট করবে?
মানে আমরা অন্য কোনো অ্যাপটাকে ওখানে হোস্ট করতে পারি।
গুগল প্লে স্টোর ইজ টেকনিক্যালি আ মার্কেট প্লেস। কিছু অ্যাপস ফ্রি, কিছু অ্যাপস ফ্রি না, তুই ওখানে অ্যাপস ইনস্টল করতে পারিস। It's not really a PAS, it's also an SAS. Any apps that you see, most apps that you see on your computer or phone are SAS. See, we are customers. আমাদের ইউজুয়ালি এগুলো এই দুটো দেওয়া হয় না, আমাদের এই দুটো দেওয়া হয় না, IAS and PAS আমাদের দেওয়া হয় না। We as developers will use IAS and PAS to make SAS for the customers. Acha, let's take the example of LinkedIn. How many of you are still confused? Let's see. How many of you are still confused? Give me your count.
Dada,
Website
can online compilers come under PAS?
no. The thing that is hosting the online compiler is PAS.
Okay, I see.
Dada, what about GitHub IO, which gives us platform for hosting our portfolio website?
You mean GitHub pages, right?
Yes, yes.
That can come under PA. No, wait. That is PAS. That is PAS. Think about it. In understand. Okay. Lot of issues here. See, that's why this is a burning interview question. Acha. Okay. So let's stop being Da Vinci about some nice artwork that I've done here. So let's take the example of Netflix. Everybody knows Netflix. Before that, let's just talk about SAS. When I talk about SAS, this will be a lot clearer. Well, SAS is used to connect cloud-based apps over the internet. So as I just said, this is your Canva, your Jupyter Labs, your whatever you see. And yeah, Office 365 over the internet. You can just search up Office online and you will find it. Now, since a lot of you are confused, let's see. Let's see if I can explain it this to you. Right. So example, so take the example of Netflix. Suppose Netflix doesn't exist. Today Netflix doesn't exist. I want to make Netflix. What will I do? First, first step, I will I want to build it without any dependency on my local computer. I don't have a computer, for example. I just have a laptop that is not capable to make Netflix. It doesn't have anything. So I have to use cloud. Right. First step. First step is I have to get a machine. Right. That is where I have IAS. This is my machine. Suppose it's a VM. Right. In this VM, I will install something that will help me to build Netflix. Right. Suppose Netflix is an Android app. Right. So let's say Android Studio. A lovely handwriting I've got. Android Studio. Right. So suppose I install Android Studio inside this VM. Okay. Now inside Android Studio, I can build a Netflix. Okay. What is this Netflix? This Netflix is a customer app. The end user can use this. We usually denote end user by EU. Usually we are the end users. Netflix technically does exist. So we are the end users. Okay. In So as the end users, we will not care where the thing is, where the what machine it is being hosted on, where it is built, or how it is coded. All we'll care about is we are the end users, we want to use it. Right. So this is the part where I have the machine. This is the part where I install something that helps me host the website or helps me build the website. You see, this is for building, testing, and deploying. And the Netflix app itself is the SAS, software as a service, or you can also say software as a subscription sometimes, but all of them are not subscription based. So you cannot really say software as a subscription, it's always software as a service. Okay. Now tell me how many people have uh, confusion. Just remember this example. You can replace Netflix with WhatsApp, anything. But remember this: infrastructure as a service is the machine. Android Studio or PAS is the place which helps me build, deploy, or test the software. Right, and SAS is the software itself. It's what the end user gets. Remember this. Okay. Nice. Right, so I'll be back in 5 seconds from now. Give me 5 seconds. Hey guys, lighting is a lot better now, I think. Does it mean that any app that is available to the end users is SAS? Pretty much. There are a few exceptions, but don't really worry. Usually, always they ask you whatever the end user is getting is SAS, because you won't reach the SAS stage if you don't want to give it to the end user. The thing is, it depends on who your end user is. It might happen that I want to build a Netflix only for 5 of my friends. So in that case, that it is not really going to the end user. It's coming to me only. And if my friends are developers also, it's going to them only. So it really depends on how you define the end user. Okay. So I guess that is all about cloud services. How much time are we in? Oh god, it's already been an hour. Do you want me to continue or we'll talk about it next time? How much time was the event for? Okay, okay. Let's continue then. If you're not tired, I'm also not tired. Let's go. So that's about cloud services. Now, permissions. I told you that while maintaining IAS, PAS, or SAS, think about it. If I am configuring something, let's go back to the last slide, right? Suppose I'm configuring something which is IAS, right? That means I have to take care about the OS that is Windows, Linux, whatever. I have to take care about how much storage. Then I have to take care about what I'll install. Then I have to take care about what I'll install, which will build my app. Then I have to take care about how I will build my app. So IAS is the biggest amount, right? Coming to PAS, if I have PAS as a service, that means somewhere the IAS is already been taken care of. The machine has been built, the OS has been installed. All I need to care about is build, test, and deploy my software. Bas. And if my software has also been built with PAS, it means I don't even have to care about how it is built. All I have to do is use the thing. So, like Office 365, you will just use. Right. So, let's see. This is an anti-diagram. What does it mean? It means the extra stuff that I have to take care of, right? So, IaaS, infrastructure as a service. Here, first remember, I have to take care about the servers, storage, the physical, the physical data centers, and the networking of the firewalls. What does it mean? Suppose I have a virtual machine, right? In that virtual machine, what will be the storage going in? I have to care about who will be accessing that. So networking and firewall or security, I have to take care about. And if I'm hosting a private cloud, this is only for private cloud. In public cloud or hybrid cloud, this is not my concern. Okay. In the case of private cloud, I will have to take care about the data center and the physical plant or the building, right? What does it mean? The actual computer. কোথায় আছে ওটা? কাहाँ पे है वो? Somebody comes and steals the computer off, then the whole cloud is with that guy only. So yeah, coming to PAS, right? See, all this is taken care of. This is taken care of. This whole part is PAS. Don't see the diagram. The diagram is off-putting. Thank you, Google. This is PAS. I have to take care about this. I have to take care. All these things are taken care by something else. Are taken care by the cloud service provider itself. So if I have something like GitHub.dev, it works as a PAS. So imagine, I don't know where the machine is hosted. I don't know on what network configuration it is running. I just know that this thing is helping me build some software, some database, and if it was suppose some sort of maybe a container, then I would have to care about the operating systems. But this is very rare. This usually comes here only, so don't worry. Mainly, PAS is just for deploying, building, and testing your software. Okay. Now comes SAS. This is only this. This is SAS. So in SAS, I don't even have to care about how this thing is built. I just have to care about my hosted apps or applications. Right. So if I just correct the diagram very quickly, if I just correct the diagram quickly, just give me a moment, I'll rub all this out. Mm, right. This is SAS. No, the thing is, I cannot correct the diagram. A lovely diagram. This diagram cannot be corrected, but still. Have you got the point? Have you understood what permissions who is responsible for? If yes, then we will have a short quiz session. Right. Let's see. Look at the diagram. It's right in front of you. It is not correct, but it is reference if you want. Okay.
Dada,
Hmm. Go ahead.
uh, but operating systems comes under IAS, no?
I told you. See,
Oh, acha,
sometimes when
acha,
you run
okay.
containers, you
Yeah.
know containers, right?
Uh,
Kubernetes, Docker. Then you would have to care about operating systems because installing Docker on Kubernetes and installing Docker on Windows and Linux and maybe Mac will not be the same, right?
okay.
So you will have to care about the operating system then. It is still helping you build the software, but you have to care about where you are installing the thing that is helping you build the software.
Oh,
So let's see. I want to host a web application, right? I want to host a web application. What will I choose? What sort of a service will I choose? Will I choose SAS, PAS, or IAS?
PAS.
Yes, okay. Isha, it's not SAS. SAS is the end product that we get. Here's the counter question. What if I'm a bad developer? I use SAS, IAS. What will happen? Is it still possible using IAS?
দাদা প্রথম কোশ্চেনটা একবার বলবে?
প্রথম কোয়েশ্চেনটা হচ্ছে I want to host a website somewhere. What service will I use? What sort of a service? And the follow-up question is, what if I use IAS? Will I be able to host my website still? Okay, let more answers come in. Okay. So the answer is yes. I will be able to host my website. Will it be the most optimal way? No. Because see, just hosting a website doesn't mean I need to care about the machine. It's just I'm hosting the website, I just need to have a hosting service. That's Heroku or Vercel, whatever. In that case, what happens is if I have an IAS, I will install the PAS on there. Then I will go and host it, whatever I want. But the thing is, if I use something like SAS, can I come back to PAS? Because this is just hosted applications. Yeah, I cannot come back. So you can see IAS is the biggest subset. As I said, this is an anti-diagram. This is an anti-diagram. IAS is the biggest subset, right? PAS is the middle one, just like this one, and SAS is the smallest subset. If you already have an SAS service, you cannot see where it was built or where is it running. If you have a PAS, then you can still know where it is built and what is running in it. And if you have IAS, you will know in what machine the software that is used to build the final software is running. You can see what software is used to build the final software, and you have the final software itself, right? So IAS is the biggest of them, and that's why you can see in IAS we have the most number of permissions and responsibilities. Whereas in PAS, it is middle. PAS is the middle man, and in SAS is the least amount of responsibility. SAS is like मेरे को सर दर्द नहीं चाहिए, जो करना है तुम करो, मेरे को सिर्फ ऐप बना के दो. It's like that kind of situation. Right. So I have another diagram which will help you get through this. Let's see if I have the diagram. Yeah. Okay. For this, let's talk about. No, I'll come back to this later. Well, these are the permissions that we have to see. Firstly, How many of you remember private cloud? Okay. Well, someone. What is the difference between private cloud and public cloud? Anyone? Simple, one line difference. One line. 2 slides back, I told you.
One is expensive, one is affordable.
Okay. Is that the main difference? Give me some other
No,
difference.
no, it's a basic one.
Like হার্ডওয়্যারটা অর্গানাইজ একটা পার্টিকুলার অর্গানাইজেশন মেনটেন করবে, বাট পাবলিকে লাইক ইউ পে ফর হোয়াট ইউ ইউজ, বাট একটা প্রাইভেটে ইউ পে ফর দি হোল থিং অ্যান্ড ইউ বেসিক্যালি লাইক সাবস্ক্রিপশন নয়, লাইক তোমাকে পুরো টাকাটাই দিতে হবে, একবার মেনটেনেন্স খরচা তোমার, বানানোর খরচা তোমার।
Okay. Yeah, pretty much. Right. So you see, if I have private cloud, if I have private cloud, everything that all of this is my responsibility. This is known as the shared responsibility model. It's very important, also asked in interviews a lot. So I figured this will be a good thing to get you guys going with. This is the shared responsibility model. The on-premises means I have to take care about all this. The things actually start up from the bottom, right? It starts from here. You have to take care about the storage, the networking, the computing machines, the virtual machines inside the computing machines, the operating system inside the virtual machines, the runtime environments, the applications that are running inside the runtime environments, and the data and access to the applications. So much I have to care about. Let's look at infrastructure as a service. So on premise, everything is yours. There is no concept of any discounts on terms of responsibility. Everything is your headache, right? So look at infrastructure as a service. You don't have to care about these three. Now you might ask me, how am I not caring about compute, networking, and storage? Well, the thing is that if you're using public or hybrid cloud, then they themselves will take care of it, right? You can still take care of something like networking access. You can take care about how much cores and stuff will you have. You can take care about how much terabytes your data will be. But at the very core, you don't have to maintain all this. You just have the liberty of choosing that I want these many cores, I want this sort of an access, and I want this much of storage. Here, suppose I want to have 50 cores all of a sudden. I have to literally go somewhere, buy a new motherboard and CPU. Then I have to install the CPU in the motherboard, hope everything works together when I put that up, and then I have to get by. In networking, I have to configure the routers myself. In the storage also, I have to literally go and buy hard disks. Here, it is just a part of data centers. This is a very confusing part, why these three, even though as a part of infrastructure as a service, are not our concern. Is it clear? What do you think? Is it clear why compute, networking, and storage, even though
দাদা
being
আরেকবার একটু বলে দিই।
হুম, বলছি দাদা। Guys, if you didn't understand, just give me a note. No issues. I'll explain it again.
Dada, how come a virtual machine is a part of IaaS?
Why not?
I'm just using it. No, it is basically a service.
But where is virtual machine? Virtual machine means that the machine is somewhere. It is somewhere on earth.
Yes.
So
I am
It is-
using it. No, basically আমার তো এটা হেডেক না, এটা যে মানে এটা আমি আচ্ছা হ্যাঁ বুঝতে পেরেছি এবার, ঠিক আছে।
now the real question is, why is storage, networking, and compute not a part of IaaS? A lot of people would get confused here.
Oh,
So some people said they didn't understand. No issues. Suppose you have an on-premises cloud and you want to host something, you want to scale it. You have 16 cores right now, you want 32 core machine, or maybe you have 16 GB RAM, you want 32 GB RAM. What will you do to upgrade your on-premises machine? You will literally have to go to the store, buy new RAM, install it in your machine. That is how will you scale this up. Everything is your headache. from access to buying the thing, everything is your head. Here in infrastructure as a service, imagine, suppose I wanted 32, 32, 64, 128. It will not matter what sort of situation I am putting my computer in. All I will do is go and change some setting on a web browser. Done. That is the power of cloud, especially when you are using public cloud and hybrid cloud. See, I told you on premises cloud is known as private cloud. See, these are synonymous words. So some, you can also say that there are three types of clouds, that is hybrid cloud, public cloud, and on premises cloud, same as private cloud. Yeah, so I guess that reduces the conflict between IaaS and private cloud in terms of compute, networking, and storage. Anyone else with the confusion? If you're confused, just go ahead. Okay, seems like nobody is confused. So, how about some of you tell me what you have understood? Anyone? What you have understood? Why is compute, networking, and storage not a part of infrastructure as a service? Just unmute or maybe right here. Anything will do for me. We will talk about SAS and PAS after this. You will see it's kind of the same that I showed you in the last one. Right. So I'm guessing everybody's understood what I was wanting to say. Okay. So PAS, you see, I'm not caring about the OS, virtual machines, or the runtime. All I have to care about the data and the applications. Why, you might say? Because this application is referring to the application that I'm using to build my final software. Right. After that is done, I don't even have to care about applications. I have the final software. All I have to care about is who is getting access to the final software. Suppose you're a student and you want access to Office 365, right? You get access to Office 365, but someone who else is not a student doesn't get access. So that is my headache when it comes to software as a service, right? Most of the times we don't even care about this. Software as a service is basically what we have already in our hands, what we already have in our hands. So pretty much that. So you can already see here in on premises, I was using so much, and here the graph went like this. I literally didn't have to use anything. Here I only have to use the data and access. I only have to care about the data and access. Everything else is pretty much spoken for. Right. So with that being said, this is a good example of the three. So as I said, our good old friends, Microsoft Azure, AWS and Cloud, AWS and GCP are IaaS. We don't have to care about the IT stuff, data centers or hardware. And the PAS is our app engine. This is the logo for app engine. If you don't know, Heroku, and I have totally forgotten what this logo is for. So this is our PAS, which helps us build something. We don't have to provision, configure, or understand the hardware or OS. Hardware is taken care by IaaS. So yeah, and SAS is the final software that we get. So Salesforce CRM, our Gmail, our Office is the SaaS services. Right. So I am going to move away from this one and talk about these four. Before that, any questions with IAS, SAS, PAS? Anything. If you tell me I have not understood anything, I'll still explain it once more. I mean, that's a recording. But anything at all? If not, I'll just move on. Right. So now, a cloud service provider will have four types of basic SaaS service, IaaS services, not SAS. Now you might ask me, why am I talking about IaaS? Why not SAS or PAS? The thing is, if I talk about IAS, you will have PAS and SAS under that only. So take a high level view, whatever's in there, PAS and SAS is under that, right? So computing power, that is helping you with course, helping you with anything that requires computation, as in maybe a server, maybe something like you want to run ML. So computing power, you might need networking, VPC networks, VPNs, cloud interconnects, anything. Storage, our good old Google Drive is a good thing. Databases, now you might say that databases and storage are kind of synonymous. No, they are not. Databases are things that store in a very simply structural manner and helps you search things. On the other hand, storage is not really structured, it's randomly stored. Now, in databases, what the thing is that I'm using a database for some other application or something I'm storing in terms of regular usage. On the other hand, storage is more for our own personal use, and if we are maybe having some sort of a backup, right? So let's go through the definitions. I'm not really sure. Yeah, it's a virtual computer, as I told you, virtual machines. So virtual networks, you can have VPNs. What does VPN stands for? Somebody? What does VPN stand for?
Virtual private network.
Yes, what does VPC stand for? You have used VPC if you have done learn to earn and 30 days. You have used VPC. What does VPC stand for?
Virtual private cloud.
Okay, right. So yeah, so in the terms of networking, we have VPNs, VPCs, cloud interconnects. I will tell you about cloud interconnect in the later slides. Okay, let's just talk about it now. Suppose you have two services on the cloud and you want to connect between them. Suppose you're using App Engine and using Cloud SQL. You have an app hosted somewhere and you want a database, right? What will help them connect? Cloud Interconnect. That's why the name. With Cloud Interconnect, don't think like it will connect AWS to Azure and that will connect to GCP. No, that doesn't happen, right? Cloud Interconnect helps you connect two or more cloud services together. With that being said, storage is for object files, that is images, videos, whatnot, things like that, whatever we store. And databases are more structured and they are used for querying, reporting data, you know, basic thing with the database too. Not worrying about these, let's move on to the next slide. Yeah, this is something I've already talked about, but no issues. We'll talk about it again. Capital expenditure is something that you pay upfront, and operational expenditure is more of a subscription based. Capital expenditure is like I am buying a phone right now and I will be using this phone for 5 years. Operational expenditure is like I need that phone for 5 years. I will just rent that phone for 5 years. After 5 years, I will give it back to you. So, capital expenditure, what happens? I will have to purchase it once, and after that, I will have to take care of the maintenance, the screen breaks, whatever happens. I have to take care of that. I have to also take care of the software updates and whatnot. So, yeah, that is pretty much capital expenditure. Now, in terms of operational expenditure, it is also known as the pay as you go. Pay as you go is a very common term when you see Google or Microsoft or Amazon talking about cloud models. It's known as a pay as you go model. So you have flexible costs and you only pay for what you need, right? I need this phone for 5 minutes, I will pay for 5 minutes. That's it. In the same way, how about you tell me in the terms of cloud? In terms of cloud, I've already told you this before. In terms of cloud, how will capital expenditure will be more costly than operational expenditure? By the way, capital expenditure stands for CapEx and operational expenditure stands for OpEx. Small terms. But the question is, why do we usually use operational expenditure and not capital expenditure? How is capital expenditure more expensive? Come on.
মানে সাপোজ যদি আমি বলি লাইক একটা নেটফ্লিক্সের সাবস্ক্রিপশন সাপোজ 199 per month পড়ছে, বাট টু মেনটেন দ্যাট এন্টায়ার সার্ভার পুরো হার্ডওয়্যার নেটফ্লিক্সের এনে ওটাকে মেনটেন করা, যত নতুন ডেটা আসছে সেই হিসেবে লাইক দ্যাট এক্সপেন্ডিচার ইজ ভেরি হিউজ, লাইক সো দ্যাটস ওয়াই উই জেনারেলি গো ফর অপারেশনাল এক্সপেন্ডিচার.
But what if you are not, you are building Netflix, right? So why would you choose operational expenditure over capital expenditure? You will have to take care of the servers yourself anyways. Suppose you're building Netflix, then if anybody else wants to answer, it's still fine. I just want to know if you guys have understood, because see, the labs and everything will get you a good understanding, but nobody will really discuss. This is a good place where we can all come and discuss things. If not, I will just answer that myself. Let's see. Right. So I told you that if I'm building Netflix, why would I choose operational expenditure? The thing is, suppose it might happen that I only need. Demopriyo says, repeat the question. Okay. Right. So suppose I'm building Netflix, right? Why will I use operational expenditure model compared to capital expenditure model? I will still need to have a server. I will still need to have storage, databases, everything. Then why would I use operational expenditure in place of capital expenditure? Right. So flexible storage as well as server. I can have, suppose I think that my server will have 20,000 requests a day, but I have allocated such resources that it will handle up to 50,000 requests a day. No issue. But why operational?
Is it because of the improvements that will come with it?
Improvements as in?
As in the updates and all. If we take capital, then we'll have to take care of it by ourselves. But in operational,
No, basically, I think in capital expenditure, all things are for permanent, for permanent use for a company. মানে ব্যাপারটা বোঝাতে পারছি না, মানে সাপোজ অপারেশনাল এক্সপেন্ডিচারে হচ্ছে যে আমি ওটা মানে কি বলবো, মানে suppose I rent a car. So I rent a car for about 1 or 2 months. Then I'm paying around $1,000 or something like that. But for lifetime usage, I'm not. I have to pay much more than what I pay for capital expenditure.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that is pretty much it.
হ্যাঁ মানে আমার যতটা লাগবে আমি সেই হিসেবে নিতে নিতে যাবো ইন দ্য ফিউচার.
হ্যাঁ,
মানে
So,
ডে টু ডে এক্সপেন্সেস যতটা ততটুকুই শুধু আমরা এখন।
হ্যাঁ এটাই।
so the thing is that you have understood. Anyone having the question, you can still ask me. Basically, how much you need, you only take that. That is why it is written as pay as you go. So, suppose you're a small company, you need less resources. Just pay for that amount of resource. You scale up to a big company, you get more investors, you get more customers, you scale that up, you then pay for only that much. Suppose holiday season or something, requests go down, you again scale down, no issues. But in OPEX, there is no technical extra expenditure. What? In the long run, capex will be profitable. Well, it depends how long the long run is. Because suppose I bought a computer back in 1950s. 1950s computers don't exist. Maybe 1990s, right? At that point of time, I bought a computer having 16 cores. That would be mind blowing to have 16 cores in that sort of an era. I thought that this will run me for 10 years. In 10 years, you're in 2010. In 2000, in 10 years, you're in 2000 series. You're in 2000s, and computers have like 16 cores are common. I know it sounds a bit off-putting, but you get the point. So if the long run is for like 1 year, then maybe. If the long run is for a lot of years, suppose 20, 30 years, then that is the problem. And as the thing is, as cloud engineers, you will have to see this. Never tell your customers like, okay, this is not happening, then maybe just get a server offline, and we'll have that server connected with our database, we'll have that server connected with the online cloud, and go about that. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Always go for operational. Whole cloud is operational expenditure. Right. So I guess that is what we were trying to go for. And with that, I will talk about some features. Again, this is a burning interview question. I was asked this myself in my interview. So let's see. Availability. Now, if you remember, we talked about accessibility, right? A part of it is availability. It is basically how much available my system is, right? Suppose my system, I promise my user, I'm a cloud service provider, I'm GCP. I promise my user that my cloud is going to be available for 29 days in 30 days. What does that mean? One in 30 days, it is going to be done. It means whatever they have to set it up somewhere else so that in case their system goes down, for our maintenance, they will have to put it up by some other means. Okay, so that is availability, right? Scalability. In very simple terms, what happens is, suppose on Sunday, a lot of people are visiting Netflix, right? So the users of Netflix have drastically increased, but the servers are still the same. So what does that mean? It means that all of a sudden, all those people that are trying to access it will actually take down the website because it is actually a distributed denial of service. What is happening? Many people are asking for the website, but it's not available. Why? Because all these weekdays, Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesday, and all these days, the requests were less. So what is happening? The machine itself is built for that. It is not built for the extra Sunday workload. So how do we tackle that? We tackle that with scalability. Now remember, these terms you will not come across in GCP. No cloud service provider will tell you, do you want your service to be scalable? Do you want your service to have high availability? No. Nobody will tell you that. It will have options, it will have services that you need to choose and you need to configure to make it scalable, to make it available. Right? That being said, we come to agility. So in scalability, I just told you that suppose a server has 4 cores on Saturday and it jumps up to 16 cores on Sunday. How fast it can make this change is what scalability is. Okay. If it can make these change fast enough, then we call the system an agile system. Right. That being said, fault tolerance. Fault tolerance means suppose there is some sort of a problem in my system, some sort of a bug. This bug can take down the whole website or the whole deployment or the whole app. Can my website or my app take care of that problem and still keep going? Even if it doesn't take care of it, can it still ignore the problem that is facing and still keep going? That is the fault. That the problem is the fault, and the fact that I'm tolerating it is the fact that I'm having is the fact that I'm not caring about the problem and still keep going. That is what fault tolerance is, right? So with that being said, let's talk about elasticity. Now, I just told you about scalability. Scalability is kind of uh, connected with elasticity. So, what do you think? How is scalability is connected with elasticity? What is an elastic rubber band? I can pull it to make it big, to make it bigger. I can release it to make it shorter again. How does it relate with scalability? What do you think? I will tell you about elasticity. Don't worry.
লাইক যতটা ডেটা বাড়তে থাকবে লাইক ইট ক্যান এক্সপ্যান্ড মানে করতে পারবে ততটা মানে ইট
So
ক্যান
that is
হ্যান্ডেল।
scalability only. That
হ্যাঁ
is
লাইক
scalability.
ইলাস্টিসিটি মানে বেসিক্যালি লাইক কতটা অবধি টানতে পারো বিফোর ইট স্ন্যাপস বেসিক্যালি। তো যতটা বেশি
Okay.
ইলাস্টিক হবে তত বেশি ও স্কেলেবল হবে জিনিসটা।
Don't take it literally in terms of scalability. In terms of elastic rubber band, there is no physics involved. So you can pull it pretty much unlimitedly. Don't worry. Because cloud can provide you a lot of resources. Don't worry about it snapping or something. Somebody said that how efficiently it can expand or contract. Right. So why would I contract? Why would I ever try to have less course than it already has? Suppose my website had 4 course on the weekdays and 16 course on the weekend. On the weekdays again, why will I take that back to 4? Common logical question. I am I am having more course in the weekends. Why will I take that to less course on the weekdays again? Simple
উইকডেজে
logical
কম
question.
লোক,
Because
মানে সবাই করতে পারবে না, বেসিক লোকের কাজ থাকবে, লাইক দে কান্ট avail all the courses because they have less time in the weekdays. So
Let them not avail.
মানে ওয়ার্কলোড টলারেট করতে পারবে না।
unnecessary expenditure হতে পারে।
exactly, like
Ah,
ফালতু কেন রেখে?
that is the thing. Because see, 16 course doesn't mean 16 course I'll be paying for 4 course only. 16 course means I have to pay for 16 course only. So if I keep those 16 course all throughout the week, it means that those 16 course will be a part of my bill. So when I require 16 course, I'll take 16 course. When I require 4 course, I will use 4 course. That is where elasticity comes in, right? So elasticity basically means my workload will be elastic. That is, it will scale up or scale down. With this, there are two types of scalability, that is vertical scaling and horizontal scaling. Vertical scaling means that I am literally increasing the configuration of a system, and horizontal scaling means I am increasing the number of machines with the same configuration. Okay, any confusions in this?
না দাদা।
Okay. Hmm? See?
ভিএসটা আবার রিপিট করতে পারবে?
VS মানে vertical scaling. Vertical the number of machines remains same, but the configuration of each machine. Suppose a machine has 4 cores, I will increase that to 16 cores, right?
ও ওকে।
That is vertical. And horizontal is I have 4 cores, 4 cores in one machine. I will have 2 machines of 4 cores only, or I will have 4 machines with 4 cores only. That is horizontal scaling.
ওকে।
Remember, this is also a very trick question. Vertical scaling is hard with elasticity. I'll tell you why. Imagine your your computer is running, right? Some process is running. All of a sudden, what happens is you decide that the elastic feature will kick in and the number of cores will reduce. Now you don't know which core it is running in. All of a sudden, you deallocate the cores and the thing that you were running might go off. So the whole point of having it scalable or elastic has been taken out. So vertical scaling is very hard with elasticity. Elasticity usually comes with horizontal scaling only. If you're talking about scalability, vertical scaling is fine. Increase 4 cores, 8 cores, whatever. Explain availability once more. See, availability is basically how available my server is. Suppose you say that every 30 days, in every 30 days, one day, you're going to maintain your servers. What happens? Think in the terms of GCP. There are physical servers. It means that you'll have to clean the machines, you'll have to take care of the heat, you'll have to see if everything is on point, you'll have to see if the access is granted. Yeah, so you have to maintain everything, and there are a lot of data centers, so they take that time to actually be available. It's not usually one day, it's very small, it's less than hours. But don't worry, it's a very small part of the cloud. Availability is usually ensured with scalability, fault tolerance, and elasticity. There's also something known as redundancy. It's not really a core feature, so don't worry. Explain agility. So as I said, in scalability or elasticity, you are changing the amount of cores or the amount of resources that you have allocated, how fast you can change that. Suppose I have four cores, and from 4 cores to 16 cores, it takes me 25 minutes to change. That means for that 25 minutes, whoever else is trying to access the extra resources, it will not be available. So no point. That 25 minutes is a waste. If some machine can actually do that in 5 minutes, imagine. That is a highly agile system. The agile word actually means fast, speed. So that is where it comes from. If it can do in 5 minutes, then maybe for the 5 minutes they can wait. 5 minutes customers can wait, and then after that, once it is having the 16 cores allocated, then they can access easily. Fault tolerance and elasticity. Okay, fault tolerance মানে আমার যদি machine কোনো অসুবিধা হয়, some code went wrong, or some sort of a problem is happening, some database is not working, still my machine will go on. Let's see. How many of you remember WhatsApp went down recently? After WhatsApp went down, we all switched to some other messaging app. I switched to Telegram. In the same way, suppose your one website goes down, you have a second website to actually help that. Suppose you have two websites hosted in the cloud in two different regions. What does that mean? If one website goes down, it only goes down for that data center. The other website is still up. So if you have configured properly, anyone who is trying to access your website will get either one of those websites. Right? So it doesn't matter if one goes down, you have the second one. That is how anything, like, even as we speak, this meeting is actually handled. It might as well happen that some data center went down, but since it is properly configured and there are multiple data centers that is handling this, that's why it's still available. Elasticity is basically how fast, not how fast, it's the fact that we can increase and decrease the amount of resources allocated, right? Suppose I have 16 GB of RAM, I want 32 GB of RAM over the weekends. After 32 GB of RAM, it becomes a weekday again, so I want 16 GB of RAM again. That is an elastic workload. Imagine an elastic rubber band. So you have 16 GB RAM, increase 32, you let the rubber band release, goes back to 16. That is why it's elastic. Okay, any more questions regarding cloud features? If not, we'll just proceed. Right, I guess that was it. Well, finally we have come to end of this session. I thought that this session will be a short one, but apparently we are 1 hour overboard. Any questions? Tell me. Any questions regarding GCCP, regarding cloud, anything? Ask me. How many of you are bored? I don't expect anyone to write anything, but still, if you're bored, tell me. So, processing the class info. Okay. I know it's a lot to take in one session. It is a lot. Told me to, if I was in your place, then I would probably take whatever I've learned and maybe check out the recording again. There is a recording. I will show you. I will also send you the slides if you need it. No worries. Right. So, yeah, the PPT will also be sent. Don't worry. Any questions? Just ask me. I'll wait for a minute. Let's check out what else I have. Pretty much covered everything. Yeah, this was the first session. How was the session, guys? What do you think? Is this the right pace? Should I decrease the pace? Should I? Yeah, good, good. Seems good. Right. So, what do you want to see in the next session? I have planned some things here and there. I was thinking about we will talk about the services that Google Cloud provides, because here we didn't really talk about any services that they provide. I will talk about Cloud Run, app services, everything. Some terms might be new to you. No worries. You have the learning paths. So, guys, listen out. Start the learning path. Start learning from there, and whatever there is in there, start learning. Read through whatever instructions there are. Do it. It's pretty much self-explanatory. No issues, and that would get you. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the group. You can ask me in the DMs. You can ask other people also. You can just, you have the biggest knowledge of all, that is google.com. You need that. And right, I don't think there are any more questions. So yep, that was it for this session. And thank you guys. Bye. You can leave one by one. Where do I get earning? Learning path, not earning path. You don't, I mean, you will earn if you, the learning path will be sent to your mail. You did register, right? If you have registered, the learning path is in your mail. It will show you it's the cloud engineer track. Any questions, anything? So if not, I guess we'll call it a day. Thank you all for joining. It was lovely explaining cloud to you, and see you guys in the cloud. So bye guys.
Thank you, Dada.
Thank you, Dada.